Let's be honest, having a dream is easy, especially at the beginning, when the vision is fresh and the energy is high, and it feels like can't nothing touch you. You carry yourself different, you walk different, you talk different, you feel chosen. Thank you, Lord, for choosing me. But then it happens. The hype fades, the results stall, the applause never comes, your launch flops, nobody shared your idea. You look around and it feels like you're the only one that believes. And if we're being honest, this is the area where the dream stops feeling like a dream and starts feeling like a burden. What do you do when the very thing that once lifted you up starts to weigh you down? And the truth that most people don't say out loud is dream chasers don't just chase a feeling. They build a mindset that outlasts doubt. They forge an identity that can survive the silence. They learn how to keep going, especially when it costs more than they originally expected. And if you're in that place right now, I want to remind you that you were built for this. Not the easy version, not the highlight reel version. You were built for the real journey of purpose. Today we are closing out our series on the Dream Chaser. So let's talk about mindset. There's a difference between excitement and endurance. And it's something that nobody teaches us when we first enter our calling or start going after our dream. As excitement gets you started, endurance keeps you going. Anybody can show up with fire when everything feels new, but the dreamer's mindset is forged in the middle. The messy, the uncertain, the quiet is forged in the very place where you're showing up and nothing seems to be moving. You ever been there? Doing everything right, posting, planning, praying, pouring yourself out, and yet no applause, no breakthrough, no visible progress. It's that place where many quit because someone told us the lie that if it were meant to be, it would be easier than this. But greatness isn't born in moments of ease. In fact, it's carved out in moments of resistance. And endurance is the separator. It is the separator between those that accomplish the dreams and those that tap out. It's the very thing that turns a good idea into a legacy. I heard the story of someone who started a nonprofit. It was a nonprofit to help children. And for her first event, 3 people showed up. And one of them was her cousin. She cried in the parking lot, wondering if she should quit. But something in her said, keep going. And in 2 years, the same person that had 3 people show up, one being her cousin, the same person that was crying in the parking lot, began to mentor hundreds and hundreds of kids, and her story began to change lives. But that impact, it didn't come from excitement. It came from endurance. Your dream isn't a weekend hobby. It's a lifelong assignment. That means that you're going to need stamina and not just hype. Endurance says, I'll show up again. I'll try again. I'll believe again, even when nothing looks different. So I ask you, what's something in your life right now that still matters to you even though it's hard? That's where your endurance is being tested and built. Your dream must be bigger than your ego. This one's gonna challenge you a little bit. If your dream is still about you, you'll give up the moment it threatens your image. Because ego wants to look good. Purpose wants to do good. And there'll come a moment in your journey where you're asked to do something that feels foolish. And it is in that moment that you'll have to choose. Do I want to make an impression or do I want to make an impact? Well, what if I launch something and it fails? What if I'm embarrassed? Let's say it flops. There's information in the flop. So the moment that you are framing as a failure is not about failing, it's about the information. And you can't build a legacy if you are addicted to polish. You can't grow if you're terrified of falling. And what I love about the dreamer's mindset is it lets go of the need to be impressive. and it grabs on to the need to be impactful. Because boldness is not clean, it's not always pretty, and it might even mean risking embarrassment. It might mean walking into rooms where you're not an expert. It means being okay with not being the favorite. But that's where real growth happens. So let me say this clearly. Trade your pride for purpose. Trade cool for calling. Trade appearances for actual impact. Be you, and know that you weren't built to protect an image. You were built to walk in purpose, even if it's messy at times. Let's talk about vision, faith, and the inner voice you listen to. You ever notice how loud doubt gets when you're on the edge of a breakthrough? Critics, insecurity, comparison, your own thoughts. Your dream lives or dies by the voice you obey. And sometimes it's not the outside voices stopping us, by the way. It's the internal ones. And the thing that we have to remember is not every voice gets the final say. Not every voice deserves your attention. Vision says keep building. Doubt says you're wasting time. Faith says you're being prepared. Fear says you're not ready. So let me ask you, what voice has been loudest in your mind lately? And what would change if you stopped listening to it? Because the dreamer's mindset turns up the truth. It silences the static and it aligns with faith over fear. You don't need everyone to believe in your dream. You just need to believe in the one who gave it to you. You're not just a visionary, you're a vessel. You're not just chasing a dream, you're carrying a calling. And you're going to encounter setbacks, but setbacks aren't the end. They're the gem that makes your mindset stronger. Every delay, every rejection, every no is all a part of the construction process. I know it doesn't feel good when the door slams shut. I know it hurts when they don't support you. And I know it's frustrating when your results don't match the effort. But here's the shift. We can ask, why is this happening to me? Or what is this building in me? I'm reminded of Colonel Sanders, who was rejected 1,009 times when he was trying to start KFC. How do you go through 1,009 no's? You go through it by allowing every no to become fuel. You go through it by, instead of letting pain shrink you, you let it shape you. You go through it by realizing that failure becomes feedback, delay becomes development, frustration becomes fire. So when life gets tough, begin to ask yourself, what is it teaching me? How can I use it? What is the gift inside? You're not the mistake. You're not the delay. You're the one who grows through it. I want to end this series with the fear that haunts most dreamers. And is the fear of looking foolish. It's the voice that says, hey, don't post that. It might flop. Don't go live. You might stutter. Don't launch that idea. You're going to look desperate. The truth is, the fear of looking foolish is more dangerous than failure itself. Ooh, I just said something in here. I'm going to say it again. The fear of looking foolish is more dangerous than failure itself, because it doesn't just stop action, it stops growth. It keeps you playing small. It convinces you to bury your gifts because you're afraid of embarrassment. And ultimately, it leads you to a life of regret. But I've made this series to free you. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be bold enough to show up. Stop playing to impress. Start playing to grow. And if you're someone who's so worried about how you will look, ask yourself this. Do I want to look safe, or do I want to live fully? The ones who changed the world aren't the ones that played it cool. They were the ones who risked looking crazy and kept going anyway. And I leave you with this reminder. You weren't built for comfort. You weren't built to maintain an image. You were built for impact. And whenever you feel doubt creeping in, when your results don't come, when the crowd goes quiet, I want you to remember this. You don't just have a dream, you have a calling. You don't just want success, you want purpose. And you weren't given this dream by accident. You're the chosen one. You're the very one to bring it to life. And here's your challenge. This week, do one thing bold enough to scare your ego. Launch it, share it, say it, build it. Do the thing the old you would have avoided out of fear. Because you're not here to play small. You're not here to be impressive. You're here to be impactful. You were built for this. Now go live it. Always remember that growth is a journey. It's not a destination. I'm in it with you, and I'll see you on the next one.